Hey everyone, welcome to a hands-on review video of the E1 book by Progress Technologies. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
And in today's video, we're going to give you a sense of what this brings to the table, show you the UI, navigation, and how manga looks on here. So this is preloaded with the entire volume of Fist of the North Star. So as you notice, this looks like a real book, and it's meant to sit on your bookshelf along with your other manga. Surprisingly, this can actually be removed, much like the dust jacket on a hardcover novel. And once you do that, the full color has given away to just black and white traditional manga experience. So these are dual screen 7.2 inch screens, opens and closes like a real book, and you can see that the texture of this is it feels like a book. It's kind of glued down and things like that. The first page of the Fist of the North Star is an operational guide, so it tells you what all of the buttons do. Now the manga itself is available in Japanese and English, and you just toggle between the two by clicking this button. Now you have previous page, next page. This is jumping chapters, and this is jumping volumes.
And unfortunately, you can see how the next page and next volume is duplicated on this side, but the next chapter, you actually can't go back a chapter because it's replaced with the language toggle button.
That's correct. So let's just check out what we have here.
It immediately jumps right into the book because this doesn't have an operating system on it where you can sideload things into. It starts with the book immediately.
Yeah, that's correct. So you notice that the manga, in terms of the person, it's split between both screens. So it's not a lot of the manga is not, you know, one side of the screen and then an independent thing on the other side of the screen, like a dual screen mode, like on your iPad or your Android tablet if you're using like Comixology or Manga Rock or something like that on a dual screen device, which we've never seen a dual screen device in terms of a dedicated manga reader. So things are happening just like they would like in a real book when you're reading it.
And this is actually duplicating and replicating the loss of actually reading a book where the bind is when you open up a book. You always have a little bit of loss there unless you flatten your book out, which isn't usually advised.
That's right. So this is totally done with your fingers. There's no touch screen or anything like that.
There's no long press, but what Michael mentioned earlier, there's a toggle. So you can see here in all of the text boxes and the conversation boxes, we have Japanese. If you simply press the toggle button, everything changes into English. So, and they've accounted for this. You can see how when they say this, it's very comical and it's very explanatory and it's in bold, and you can toggle back and forth with the click of a button.
That's correct. So you can jump to the next chapter by pressing sort of this button here, and it tells you, at various points, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's in the bottom. It's how the publisher initially did this.
Right, and then the triple arrow here is volume to volume. So you can go 2, 3, 4, and so on. Yeah,
and it tells you here the name of the chapter, you know, how many pages it is, whereabouts it is, so you can kind of just like jump. So the buttons are completely flush with the sides of this device. You could run your fingers alongside of it and you would never know there's buttons there. Now you might notice that the resolution on this is superb. That's because it's using the original data from the artwork for the digital form. So each of the 18 volumes on here are 500 MB per volume, where if you download the ebook format of this, it's only 50 MB like a volume. So you are getting degraded quality if you just get the ebook form or if you're reading it for free.
So this being all of the Fist of the North Star manga in both English and Japanese, you must be, and it being in an electronic format, you must be thinking about the price. Mike, what did we find when we looked at the price of this?
Well, it's on Kickstarter, so it had various goals, but on average, the final commercial price to the US to people from the US, from Japan, would be $360 all in.
Right.
But if you wanted to buy all 18 volumes of the Fist of the North Star,
Right.
you're paying on average between $200 and $300 US.
Right.
And this is only for the Japanese version.
Right.
Because they didn't really sell the entire 18 volume set in English. What they plan on doing is having 5 more volumes preloaded on here. They didn't tell me what they were, but they're also working on deals with publishers in Japan to get, the original art files. It looks and feels like a real book. This sits in a bookshelf and you would never know, side by side with your other hardcover books, your other manga, you would never know what's actually inside of here. And what's inside makes all the difference in the world. For GoodieReader.com, my name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.